Right. I said, but she do got the same voice. Yeah, okay. But like I said, I didn't know that we had just the next. I said at 6:30, I'll be all right. That's all. I was pushing. That's why I take one. And I don't even tell you, I don't look at my phone like that. No, I said, I don't. That's all I'm actually glad. Yeah, when it converse, do it that way. That ain't it, right, that ain't it. And see, that's, I mean, someone that, I mean, my home, so
at the end of my public session, just leave it quick, say like, you're gonna do one, and then I can either read it.
Okay.
Send mine. I gotta set myself a reminder to fill this out.
What's Stewart?
Oh, still, he should be, he's here somewhere. He was in the building earlier.
Yeah, he's in the building. Okay. He's somewhere doing something.
They should. We're down by.
Miss Lockwood. Before we get started. Did you get things straightened out for you?
Yeah, I took the money out.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything is straightened out.
Okay. No. All right. Gotcha.
They're spending. I mean, I didn't see it.
But I mean.
You know how one is?
Right, I mean, most of us weren't, but I mean.
Could she give you this here?
Huh?
Can she give you this here?
What, the laptop?
Yeah,
Is it?
that's what she wore, she used to have right in front of her.
That's really.
It's her own laptop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yep.
I know if Nick-
Why you give him
my-
him first?
I try to go right
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Why you give me second?
I mean.
Okay.
That's how.
That's all I'm-
My computer-
I get it.
It's gonna blow, I'm the only one that's gonna be mindful to try to get it.
I just said that, I have one.
You know,
I just said one.
You got the, with the attachments.
No, that I.
I mean, I'm looking for the environment.
Okay, yeah.
I don't really.
I'll see how much they'll charge if I drop them off there, put them in there. Right?
Yeah, so, that was, you know,
What's the game?
what's the game, yeah, yeah, what's the, yeah. So.
Yeah.
She's bringing more in. She's bringing more in.
Right.
No, I was thinking, no, you're, oh, yeah.
Watching.
I was just around that storm.
I was okay. Yeah, that's.
I got the right one.
Oh, yeah, I was doing, yeah, the houses on next to me. And lots of stuff started flying.
Yeah.
And it's tree killed it.
Just saying.
Madam President, give me a few minutes. We're waiting on the copier. We had a little malfunction, so we're at the police station right now.
Do I wanna know?
Anyone know? Maybe it's got a fatal error. And the police station one is not as fast as ours, so Marty is tending the copy machine.
Sir, I can do that.
Well, here, he's the engineer, he'll figure it out.
And when you have to spend time doing that, and you gotta go to everyone.
I'm stalling. I might have to get it trimmed.
Mhm. Because it looks like it's wider than the other ones. Are they all the same?
They're all the same, but this is the stall tactic.
She said she hadn't been home yet. Now, when do you think she would come right home? I don't know. No.
That's what I said. I don't think that much. It did look wider.
Did it look wider?
Mhm. I'm getting it.
See the, Madam President, can you see the board?
I can't.
Sure. $75,000. Right. Madam President, we had a few difficulties with the printer, but every member of council has an agenda. Marty will be bringing agendas in for the rest of the folks that are in the audience. If you'd like to get started, I'll leave it at your pleasure.
Yeah, we can go ahead and call for order. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and have roll call.
Council Vice President, Bernice Dickerson. Councilor Douglas Eager.
Here.
Councilor Beth Ann Johnson.
Present.
Councilor Michelle Miller.
Here.
Council President Shante Miller.
Here.
Councilor Michelle Roberts.
Present.
Councilor Walter Stubbs.
Here.
Madam President, I spoke with the mayor earlier. She has a family function, will not be able to join us this evening.
We'll go ahead and move on to announcements. I'm gonna have our borough manager go ahead and read off, each of, committees and who will be chair.
Absolutely, Madam President. Council did meet earlier this evening before the meeting in executive session. The purpose of the executive session was to discuss personnel issues as well as potential litigation. Shortly following the reorganization of last Tuesday, President Miller made her committee assignments, and the following individuals chair committees. Public Facilities and Infrastructure is now being chaired by Councilor Beth Ann Johnson. Finance and Administration is being chaired by Council Vice President Bernice Clark Dickerson. Public Safety is being chaired by President Shante Miller. Public Health, Safety, Sanitation, and Recycling, again, is being chaired by Michelle Roberts. Community and Economic Development is being chaired by Douglas Eager. And Parks and Recreation is being, again, chaired by Councilor Stubbs. And what I'll do is I'll put a package together with all of the folks that serve on those committees with you.
You on,
I'm sorry.
on ordinance, I'm sorry.
All
not
ordinance is Councilor Michelle Miller.
Yeah.
I forgot the mayor a few months ago, and now I forget the former council president, so it's not starting off 2024 very good.
All right, we do not have any presentations this evening. Go ahead, I'm sure you guys have seen our action items on the agenda. You have any public comment?
We have three, Michael Lee. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ewald. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. I do want to take this opportunity because, as we all know, or as most of us know, when Michelle Miller became a council president in January of 2020, when then shorter, we were gobsmacked as the whole country was with the pandemic and the shutdown orders that pretty much sent everything into a standstill with no guidelines to guide the borough or any other institution throughout the country on how to deal with it. Because the last time we had something like this was the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918 to 1920. And for who knows what reason, no records exist or could be found as a guidelines of what to do today. I believe, in honesty, that our former council president and the former council vice president, Michelle Roberts, did as her predecessor, former council vice president, John Miller, did a very good job. And with all the grief they had to take, they all kept their cool, especially Madam President Miller, because of some of the grief that you took, it was better that you were up there than me, because I wouldn't have taken it. I would have had to respond, which in honesty would have just made things even worse. So, so my main point is, my late common law wife used to say, you know, get to the point. Here it is. I believe Madam President Miller and former President Miller and the former council vice presidents all deserve a round of applause. And I, for one, am going to give you one. And if anybody agrees with you, can feel free to do so. If I'm the only one who does it, here it is.
Thank you.
So, and that being said, I'll take my seat. Thank you. I yield the balance of my time, as they used to say on C-SPAN.
Yeah, thank you.
Bruce Wagner.
I apologize. I believe I signed in the wrong category. I belong on open discussion, so I'll wait.
Mr. Hefner.
Bill Hefner, 571 South Old Middletown Road, Media, PA. I have multiple businesses here in Morton itself. I notice on the agenda, they're adjusting the budget for police and some other items. And then later on, it looks to be a vote further down. My question is can I make a comment after I find out what you guys are doing, or is it the only time I can comment now and then at the very end, after the voting's done, the open discussion? How is that handled?
I think, to be fair, you know, you hear what you want to hear, and then you can certainly go ahead and.
So then in the finance, after the finance has talked about things, then may I speak and ask questions?
So, Mr. Hefner, just to be clear, the very last page of this agenda is a motion or a resolution that is a draft. It's not a final, but it talks about what the potential.
Well, I never received that, so
Right, so,
apparently a copy is broken.
here you go.
The reason why I'm asking is that it appears that we ran over the budget last year, just through the November 8th report I saw. And I was curious, you know, if we're adding more expenses, you know,
So you can take a look at that way or not.
Okay.
It's moving money from one category to another to readjust for expected expenses.
I'll take a look at it and I'll have to see. But I do have one more question. Mr. Stewart wasn't here at the time I asked. Who oversees the budget to make sure we're living within our means? Is that Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to committee reports. We have Public Facilities and Infrastructure, Councilor Beth Ann Johnson.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm gonna refer to the superintendent of the building official report.
Thank you.
And I got, can everybody just make sure you talk nice and loud into the microphones? Because people on Zoom won't be able to hear much of it, okay?
Thank you. On the building inspector report, there were 13 permit applications received and 13 permits issued. Use and occupancy certificates, 2 projects inspected and 2 certificates issued, and there was 0 contract issued for December of 2023. Under the engineer's report, the only thing I do want to bring up is we're getting ready to start work on the 2024 street resurfacing project. For next month's council meeting, I'll have information for consideration by council to approve the county aid resolution and also to authorize the bid for advertisement. And basically, what we're planning on doing there is Aqua has torn up the streets in sections of the town. Aqua has offered a contribution to road restoration, which will cover the cost of repaving restoring and repaving those streets. If council so wishes to add any other additional streets, we get them before next month, or say that before next month's meeting, so we're gonna get cost estimate for those. And that's all I have, thank you.
Mr. Catania, I have a question. You represent Rutledge also?
Yes,
Okay, I know that they have some streets that need to be repaired that appear to be off of work. A couple of small streets, and then I'm not sure who handles Swarthmore Avenue between Morton Avenue and the Triangle Park.
that's.
That needs to be done. Would it be possible to see if they'd be interested in bidding with us? For work to be done,
I can make that request.
and just to see if we save any money or whatever.
Madam President, before you move on, just two new items that, I've stepped out for just a quick second, and I think Charles may have skipped over it, but Morton Borough has been awarded from the DCED a grant in the amount of $262,057. That is for the small water and sewer grant that was submitted several months ago. The DCED is moving forward with that. I just responded to an email earlier this week listing you as the council president and myself as the borough manager for the signatories on that grant. So I would expect that grant to be awarded. I'd say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we should be seeing paperwork for that grant. And at that time, we'll charge Catania Engineering with the responsibility of putting out, whether it's 1 project or 2 projects or 3 projects, to address the high priority areas of infiltration in our sanitary sewer system that was identified in a report prepared by Delcora and CDCA. Secondly, and this is brand new information that I just received this morning, Bergman or Collier Engineering, who is doing our comprehensive and zoning plan, they've identified the Morton train station as a good candidate to submit to a TOD, which is a transit oriented development. This would be a multi-municipality. It'd be something that would be shared between Morton Borough and Springfield Borough. It would be a grant looking at development opportunities specifically around the Morton train station. It is very, very early in the discussions. We've not even had a meeting with Springfield as of yet, but I will certainly keep council informed of any developments we have about this potential grant. And with this grant, it is a 0 match, so there is no cost to the municipality other than the cost of the engineer to prepare the grant for us.
Great. We good? Are we gonna move?
Can I ask the question? Was there a dollar amount to that grant or no?
Yeah, it is a planning grant,
Mhm.
so the dollar value is between $50,000 and $175,000. So they want that, that's the range that they're looking at for the planning aspect of the grant.
Thank you.
All right, if that's it, we'll go ahead and move on to finance and administration, Council Bernice Clark Dickerson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We're gonna start off with our tax collector's report, and she's in the audience tonight. Well, Christian, thank you for coming out.
I actually don't.
Here, do you want a copy?
Everything has died on me for the.
Good evening and happy new year, everybody.
Good evening, happy new year.
As you see, usually in this time of year, there's not many in by way of collections. What's gonna happen in the next couple weeks, for those of you who may be not familiar, I will be submitting in the next 2 weeks or so to the county all the delinquent taxes. They'll be submitted, and then come March, if anyone calls you for whatever reason, the county won't have anything till about March 15th, it typically is. I did get delinquent letters out, and when I run a report, I will try to contact as many as possible, because the last thing we want to do is send these people to these collections, but those will get turned over to the county within the next 2 weeks. And then shortly thereafter, the bills will be getting printed, and as of the 1st of February, they will be getting sent out. I am waiting to hear as I understand, nothing's changing, so the millage will not change. Everybody did tell me that. I just wanted to make sure, and who we will be banking, who my tax collection funds will be going to, which banks. Because as of right now, I believe it's still up in the air, and I have to get that on the bills. So as soon as I get that information, I'll be able to send that to the printer and get those out. I also, did have to order a new laptop because mine died. So it may be a little delayed getting this stuff to you because I can't do anything at the moment. So if you have any questions about my report, please do not hesitate to ask. I don't know if you guys had time to look at it. There really isn't much in the way of collections, so.
Thank you.
I look forward to working with you, Bernice, my
Thank
wonderful
you.
neighbor.
Do you have any questions for a tax collector?
Madam President, I just one little small minute issue is I did receive your email requesting a check for reimbursement
Mhm,
for the laptop.
yes.
Is there any way that we would be able to change the order to either Springfield School District or to Morton, since both entities are tax exempt? Because there is a small little sales tax that was added to your order. Not a lot of money, but if it's gonna be
I did-
troublesome, then we're just gonna turn a blind eye.
I'm happy to take that away, but I did also save you money by going through ID me. So I'd save that by using my husband's ID me. I don't know. I guess I would have to call Dell and see if they could reverse the.
I would gladly give you a tax exempt certificate that has the borough's tax ID number
Yep,
on it.
I'm not, no, I understand. I didn't even think of it when I ordered it. I was just panicked because I
Yeah.
couldn't.
It
do
was a
anything.
very, very good price that you got on that.
I could-
computer,
yes.
So
I
you
could not do.
certainly saved a lot more money than the small amount of sales tax that
I,
we're paying.
and
but-
I do apologize. Typically, I would have ran it by anybody, but I literally, it took 2 hours to get a half a dozen receipts done because it just wasn't working. So I had to get it done. So I apologize for that, but I will contact Elle and I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for.
Next, we'll have our treasurer's report. Next door.
Thank you. Yeah, counselors, as you see in everybody's packet, there's a listing of all of the bank accounts from the 1st of December through the 31st of December. One small note that I'll make is that we have not yet received our bank statement from Citadel. So I guessed on the interest, it might be off by a few pennies, but we're close enough. On the flip side, for the last 2 years, we've been kind of tracking the cash flow on a month-to-month basis, and I think it's just a good idea for council to take a snapshot look at, as Kristen pointed out, if she gets the tax bills out on or about the 1st of February, Morton Borough residents, they pay their taxes quickly. A lot of residents take care of take full advantage of the discount period. And what you will see is a spike there in February and March. Once we hit March, we're on autopilot, so to speak, through the end of the year when it comes to the amount of cash that we have on hand. I don't know if you want to talk about the banking now or you want to. Okay. And we're quickly jumping over the discussion about possibly reopening the budget, as Kristen pointed out, is if, and it's a big if, the municipality is going to make a change in who we do our banking services with and who's going to be collecting our tax payments. That has to be done very quickly within the next 2 weeks or so. We have to determine exactly who we're going to use. Springfield School District, they have moved away from Republic Bank. My understanding is they have an agreement with PNC.
That is.
And, the other banking institution, 2 other banking institutions that I've heard very high ratings from is WSFS. WSFS, one of the advantages is we have one very close to the border of the municipality. And the other one is Sharon Savings Bank. A little more difficult to get to, but I've heard very good things about Sharon. So certainly something that the board is going to have a discussion about. We will rely on Solicitor Ewald to guide us through an RFP process, but I think we can turn it around rather quickly so that we can get Kristen her information, so it's printed on the tax bills accordingly.
Thank you. Okay, then we have in my packet is the disbursements journal for December 2023. Let's everybody look at it, take a look at it, and have any questions. I'm gonna ask Mr. Ford, do you have anything you want us to highlight on?
Nothing to highlight in the month of December. We utilize the services of Brinker Simpson to do all of our entries into the QuickBooks program. She is here on Fridays, and Ms. Dickerson, I did invite you out on Friday to meet Lauren from Brinker Simpson. And what Mr. Boylan had previously done is that, you know, once she gets all of the journal entries in, she was able to email that out to you as the chair. And this way here, you've got an opportunity to look at it a few days before we're taking action on it.
And I will be out on Friday to meet with her. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go into our discussion about reopening the 2024 budget. And as was stated earlier, we're not planning to increase the budget or reduce it. We're looking at removing line items back and forth, some money from different line items, we surface.
Yeah, so technically, it's actually not a reopening of the budget, it's just a modification of the 2024 budget, which the council can do at any time during the year.
Yeah, you have it?
According to this document I just received, you're still increasing the budget by $44,800. If you take the increases minus the reductions, I'm still coming up $44,800.
You have all set.
Pardon?
Have you looked at, the whole thing?
I'm looking at this sheet here.
The graph, yeah. This is what I'm going to look at too.
And that's with all the salaries, right?
Yeah, we got to add up everything, because we have offsets that we were doing. We have the final budget at 2,000, I mean, what's the final number?
I have $44,800 increase. We add the increases minus the decreases. At least that's why I calculated.
I don't see.
The final number.
Bill, I'm looking at, am I looking right past it? I don't see the employee contribution to healthcare on there.
What's that? I'm just looking at this.
Yeah, what I did was I accounted for the employee contribution inside the offset the expense line with the contribution. So let me just run the numbers real quick and we'll take a look at it.
Reading something.
Zero. Is it phone?
Is it Mark? So, Mr. Hefner, I think not reflected in this document is the calculation of what the employee contribution to the healthcare cost is. And, that is a total of $21,800.
Well, I'm just going by the document
Yeah,
that you're going to.
Yeah,
approve.
that's what we're
That's
saying.
why I'm
And
trying
that's
to.
why I'm seeing the difference.
Right, so,
So would it make sense to have a new document that
well, there,
details everything?
this is a draft, there, yeah, but,
Okay.
and it will alter it, but
But I'm also looking at, down here, you're gonna have a motion to approve or reject it. So I wasn't sure that if this is erroneous and people are voting on it, whether.
so they
there's a
won't vote
problem.
on it until it's complete.
Pardon?
They won't vote it on it until it's complete, but it can be completed through discussion.
Okay, so it won't be voted on tonight then.
No, it may be voted on tonight.
May not, or may.
It may. It may.
And Mr. Ewald, you just made mention about the employees' contribution.
Yeah.
What was that number?
$21,800. So I think I think the appropriate discussion for council right now, well, Mr. Stewart is just double checking the numbers. Is there's several line items that are proposed for reduction. There's a proposal to reduce the special legal counsel line item by $11,000. Reduce the building repairs by $15,000. Reduce the police training budget by $5,000. The telephone expenses by $5,000, the tree trimming and pruning by $13,200. The Parks and Rec equipment by $15,000, which, you know, keeping in mind that you just learned that you're getting a grant for $160,000, so $175,000, so they are not trying to cheat the parks. The health opt-out is because of no longer being opted out is gonna reduce by $8,000. And so if anybody on council has any discussion about those proposed reductions, now would be an appropriate time to do it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. But ultimately, we learned in the last week that we would be incurring additional healthcare costs and, you know, council's endeavoring to make sure that they can, have a balanced budget without increasing taxes and that stuff. Right, it sounds like there is no discussion on if everyone's satisfied with those reductions. Mr. Stewart will have an answer on.
I'm gonna approve it through before we
Yeah,
take the official vote. The other wild card here is going to be whether or not this council takes action on adjusting the non-uniform employee salaries. So if that action is also taken, that's gonna have an impact on the budget. We're gonna have to make another reduction in, you know, in time for that as well.
So with that,
So with that, until we have the information needed to provide you with an adequate answer, we're gonna move on.
So when you get done, you're expecting to have a revenue neutral change.
It's supposed to, that's the design.
That will be done that way. It will
That's
be
the
revenue
intention,
neutral.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We're gonna move on to public safety. Myself, Councilor Shantae Miller, I'm going to start off with Officer Brady over there for your police report.
Don't have a copy. I do have the version. Highlights for our December 2023 calls for service. There were 2 thefts, over $200 at Kohl's, which resulted in 1 arrest. And we made 1 arrest for DUI. And of the 12 motor vehicle accidents, there were no serious injuries. Of those 12 accidents, 5 were in the area of Baltimore Pike, Lehman Ave, and Providence. 14 suspicious conditions, consisted of a couple of suspicious occupied vehicles and suspicious subjects inside of the Kohl's department store. 21 assisting other police departments, which consisted of assisting with serving of warrants for outside agencies, assisting on calls for forced entry, discover on a business, foot pursuit, assist, traffic stop, and we responded to 20 medical emergencies, received 20 traffic enforcement warnings. That wraps up the highlights.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. All right, we're gonna have the fire report next.
Good
Good evening.
evening. For December, I also have the year-end report. I'll read December's first. We had 26 incidents. Company was in service for 12 hours, 50 minutes. Total response from individuals, 176 individuals. Personnel hour expended of 88 hours, 45 minutes. We had a high response of 15 per alarm, and we're still averaging 7 per alarm. The 7 members coming up for every alarm. 1 motor vehicle accident, 4 medical assists, 8 fire alarms, 1 wires call, 1 building fire. We had 11 assists to other companies. We had 8 work details, 47 hours, 79 personnel hours, 417 hours of personnel hours expended. A lot of that was Santa. We had 4 training drills for 9 hours, attended by 47, 105 hours and 30 minutes of personnel hours. We had 6 district duty engine assignments for 8 hours, attended by 16. That was for December. For the year, we had 356 incidents. We were in service for 173 hours, 18 minutes, total response of 2,377 individuals. Personnel hour expended of 1,264 hours and 25 minutes. Again, still a high response of 15, an average of 6.7, so let's call it 7 per alarm. There were 11 natural gas leaks, 8 wires calls, 3 brush fires, 4 odor investigations, 1 service call, 1 pedestrian struck, 9 cover assignments, 16 motor vehicle accidents, 39 assists to the medics, 6 fuel oil spills, 7 carbon monoxide alarms, 1 vehicle fire, 25 automatic fire alarms, 8 building fires, 2 assists to police, and 213 assists to others. The property in danger we show is $4 million, which was 119 Bridge Street. Property loss of approximately 25,000 out of a report on how much they spent to repair that. 103 details for 344 hours, 2,292 hours expended. 53 training details for 127 hours, 55 minutes, for 1,400 hours and 37 minutes, 1,437 hours and 25 minutes. The sixth district duty assignment is 41 responses, 41 assignments, 162 hours, and for 1,392 hours. Total time in service was 807 hours, and total personnel hours expended of 4,904.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If you would just elaborate on your property in danger $4 million.
Yes, it's 119 Bridge Street in this apartment complex.
Okay,
I use Zillow.
all right, thank you.
All right, we have next the fire marshal emergency management report for December 2023. Fire-
Oh, sorry.
Fire marshal report for the month of December, we have 0 fire inspections, no fire investigations, 3 fire complaints, all were resolved. One was the Springfield Valley apartment complex issue, which was the fire extinguishers, who did re-inspection to confirm that issues were corrected by owner. Popeyes had a multiple fire alarm activation within 10 days. Popeyes was advised to have the system checked and submit the report to the office. If the alarms keep going off as false alarms, they will be issuing a citation. 8 Aimless Land Road, there was no key access to fire alarm systems room. Spoke to management and they're supposed to give key access to that room. Knock boxes, there was sent in an updated information form to get new knock box keys and also approval for Knox box installation on all businesses in the borough. The photo is below. You should be able to see that if you received this information. Knox boxes are small, safety style boxes that only the police department and fire department has access to, emergency keys to gain access to entry after hours or in the event of an emergency. There were no events as far as emergency management. And if you guys don't have any of this information, on classes of new council, meaning us 3 here, we're not giving information on the classes that we should take, please forward our contact information and we will get on that so that we also can be informed and knowledgeable on these things. This report was submitted by Fire Marshal Rufus Stokes. Any questions? All right. We're going to move on to public health and sanitation and recycling. Councilor Michelle Roberts.
Good evening, everyone. On the agenda tonight is your 2024 trash and curbside recycling collection schedule. And if everyone has a packet, that schedule has been provided. And as we prepare for the new year, you just know that we will be collecting trash on Mondays and we will be doing recycling on Thursdays, except for the Thursdays that a holiday falls, it'll be that following week. And it looks like there's 2 holidays that we'll be subject to. That's Independence Day and Thanksgiving Day. Those days, the trash will be the following week far as recycling. And I know that I did take an advisement. There are a lot of residents that still don't have to recycle because it's not mandatory. We do realize that your increase in the recycling costs did go up for trash overall. It went from $230 to $305. And I did do some research. And if there's anyone out there, I looked at other municipalities in comparison, and the trash fee has been set at several other municipalities with recycling at $305. So it is here in the paper, and I do respect those that didn't want to recycle and did not want the increase. So I'm passionate in understanding how people feel about it, because once again, it's not mandatory in our community because of our number, but we just like to try to do it for our environment and just to better as we look to our future, even for our younger families that will be in our community. And hopefully one day we'll transition into having our own pickup.
The same size as Morton Borough.
Pardon me?
The municipality is the same size as Morton Borough.
No, some of them, they're larger. Yes, there were several that are larger. And I believe we had Alden that comes in small with us. And there was, I had Upper Chichester, I had Upper Darby, I had Middletown. These are things that are bigger. But once again, that is the rate that I'm seeing. For most of them that I've been reading in the paper, I'm seeing that rate of 305. So it's an increase of $75 to all of our homeowners here in Morton.
I'd also like to add in that I posted the information about recycling and texted some people and so on and so forth. Out of about 40 some people that reacted to those posts, there were only three who were negative. And one of them, my favorite one, I think, was the person who said, "Oh, this is like getting another Christmas present." So people are very happy and satisfied about it. And as I said, only, less than 5% of the people that reacted had a negative response. Not that it's scientific, but that's.
Had a vape on this bill that you send out?
No, it was things that were posted via the internet or whatever, next door and on the website and text and email messages to people.
Okay, just so you be aware, for as this coming week, there will be no trash pickup on Monday, the 15th. It will be on Tuesday, the 16th. And if there's no other questions, I yield back my time.
Okay, moving on to law and ordinance. Counselor Michelle Miller.
Well, seeing that this was just assigned and Carl and I will have to talk, I know that there's a couple of things that need to be worked on and next meeting I'll have some information. Carl, is there anything you wanted to bring up at this time?
No, I think we can sit down and discuss any potential plans for future ordinances. But right now, there's nothing that's currently in the works. Doug, is there anything in the transition? But I don't think we have anything transitioning over from your committee, do we?
Okay.
Doug,
What?
there are no draft ordinances.
No, not at the moment.
Transition,
Sorry.
yeah.
Long time.
Community and Economic Development, Counselor Doug Bliss.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am now leading the Community and Economic Development team here. I will try my best to fulfill the role by the wonderful Ms. Hodnett. It was a large role and it was, something that she had a lot of passion for. So I will try to bring, my spirit and energy to that and see where we can go from here. I have two things tonight. The comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance. I don't have anything on that just as of yet. I'm hoping to get to the next meeting. And once I get to that, I'll catch up to speed with everything that's going on. And then I'll be able to report on that at the next meeting. That's after that one. And just to discuss some of the events that we have been talking about coming up this year. Of course, we're going to continue with the Red Cross blood drives, having them hosted here at the Borough Hall. The Juneteenth celebration, doing some movie nights out there on the field and trying to host another 5K run, getting that up and up to speed. And also to try to get some of the businesses to do like a, collaboration and make sure, that they're in, talking to each other and maybe getting them in some type of a community going there. But that's pretty much about it. I'm just getting my feet wet with a lot of this. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is the same. You can contact me anytime you need to. Are there any questions from the rest of council? No? Okay. I yield my time. Thanks.
All right, Parks and Recreation, we have Counselor Walter Stubbs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
God bless. I have nothing new other than the fact that I will continue to reach out to the community. I've talked to some young men that I've seen walking the streets of Morton. And I asked about, what their feeling was as far as parks and the recreation development here in the community. And they will be getting back. A couple of them wanted to say about I had mentioned the checker board competition. I had mentioned the chess game competition. And I mentioned the CPR again. And I'm reaching out again because I really don't think that teenagers should be the only ones who learn how to CPR and then they have to pay $45 to get a certificate. So I'm going to be reaching out again to the Red Cross this time and to Patients First and find out if there is legitimate free access to this training. And then I will bring it back around to the community and the young people. I know First Baptist Church of Morton has already allowed me to suggest utilizing their basement for the use of the CPR classes. And hopefully we will be able to utilize the gym. This is going forward, not next month, but before the springtime, before the summertime. Hopefully we will have this formatted and had it laid up so the community can be happy about their children learning how to save their grandparents or their brother or their sister's life. Other than that I will turn to my brother Stuart. And if he has any brand news, please feel free.
Thank you, Counselor. Is the old saying, when the red phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, it runs shivers down your back. Well, it wasn't quite 3 o'clock in the morning. It was about maybe 9:30 last night. You get a phone call from your public works person and you know, okay, there's trouble in Morton. We did have a very severe wind and rainstorm last evening. Several trees throughout the community it came down. I believe there was one tree that did some structural damage to the back of a home. With that being said, number one, I want to thank Mr. Johnson for his diligence of going out there and, you know, after hours, making sure that our roadways were clear. But there was multiple trees that came down in Sycamore Woods. And he asked me today, he goes, well, what do you want me to do to clean up the trees in Sycamore Woods? And I said, I think we got a grant. So congratulations, we got a $180,000 award from the Delaware County Department of Planning. And that is for the urban forest management between Sycamore Woods and Jacobs Park. It will only fund about 1.5 years of a 5-year plan, but at least we're getting the first 1.5 years funded. So number one, I know you had some concerns early on in your tenure about the poisonous plants, especially in Jacobs Park. All of that is going to be taken care of as soon as we get this grant award. Also, the invasive species, weeds that just take over the entire forest, you know, that's going to be taken care of first order of business. I think Madam President will go to sleep, or former President Miller will go to sleep on a Friday night with a smile on her face when we take a weekend and we've got the goats eating the English ivy out of Sycamore Woods. So, you know, it might be something we put a blast out to the community to come see the goats. I believe they come out on a Friday night and go home on a Monday morning. And all of the English ivy in Sycamore Woods is going to be gone. So good news for 2024.
Thank you, brother. All done.
Okay, normally we'll be moving into the mayor's report, which she's not here, so we're gonna move on to manager's report.
I found our math errors, and when we get to this section of Resolution 2024-2, I can speak intelligently to the board and address Mr. Hefner's concerns.
You wanna go through it, and then we can move on to the action item.
Slip Greenwald and President Miller, it is going to be subject to change depending on the action, if any, we take on Resolution 2024-1. which would be adjustment of the salaries for non-uniform employees. So I would have to have that information, and then I'd be able to make the final calculation once we incorporate that information.
We're gonna move on to action items. We were going to. Did you speak about the proposed 2024 committee meeting schedule?
Not as of yet. It was in Ms. Dickerson's column under her committee. However, certainly it's something I think is going to warrant some discussion among members of council. Certainly would be willing to present the information to council, and then you guys can deliberate and make the appropriate decisions.
Yeah, we'll hold off.
Okay, that's all.
Well, if we're going to action items, we could probably go through it right now, or
We're gonna, moving on to action items,
Okay.
We were going to go ahead and discuss, call a motion to approve, all three of these items, but given that, we are reworking and going through the numbers, I think it's best that we go ahead and table that, have what we need, and then bring that to our next meeting.
the issue there is we're going to run into having to do what's the word I'm looking for? Retro pay. If we don't take action this evening, it's completely up to you. Should be a very simple calculation. I think I can handle it if you wanted to move on.
Yeah.
Get her done.
Yeah, do I have a motion to approve?
Well, you have no idea what.
I didn't like.
Yeah.
Go ahead, it's the store, my fault.
So shortly after the reorganization meeting, I did meet with our President Miller and Vice President Ms. Dickerson, who is also the Chair of Finance. And I was asked to look into the salaries for our non-uniform employees. Typically in municipal government, salaries are typically on the lower side, which are offset by some of the nice benefits that municipal employees enjoy. All of the holidays that we enjoy throughout the year, and the healthcare plan. However, when I reached out to our neighbors and surrounding communities, it was quite evident that our non-uniformed employees are a little bit on the lower side in terms of an hourly wage. The two that I'm going to point out is going to be our secretary. In 2023, her salary was $23.19 an hour. There was a 2% increase that was allotted for in the 2024 budget. When I looked at our neighbors, the salaries for the position like that are typically between $25 and $30 an hour. So I was asked to make a recommendation of where to adjust that salary, and my recommendation would be to adjust the salary to $25 an hour. However, it certainly is up to the board to make a determination of what type of increase they would like to see. The second would be the Public Works lead person. In 2023, that salary was $19.70 an hour, allotting for a 2% increase. In 2024, the budget came up to $20.10, or the hourly wage came to $20.10 per hour. The salaries for this position in our surrounding communities are significantly higher. We're looking between $28 and $35 an hour is what our neighboring communities are paying for the same position. Not wanting to extremely burden the budget, I would make a recommendation to up that salary to $22.50. It's a significant increase. Certainly would not put the salary into what the competitive market is for other municipalities, but certainly a gesture of gratitude, in my opinion.
Mr. Stewart, can you also talk about the public workers, part-time employees, what they were up at last year?
Yeah, sure. In 2023, we hired a part-time public works employee at $15 an hour. We did bring other employees on board. When we were discussing hourly salary with those other employees, they weren't even interested in entertaining a part-time job for anything less than $17.50 an hour. So the increase that we made from 2023 to 2024 was a 17% increase. So while we're looking at the public works salary going up by 14%, seems as if it's a significant number on the surface. However, when you dig down below the surface and see what other communities are paying for that same service, we still would be below the competitive market at $22.50 an hour.
Thank you. Since it's a sensitive personnel issue, I ask if council could please take a short executive session on this issue.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
Things will get into.
They were very surprised last week, asking why you $100,000. You really?
The whole budget?
Yeah, I feel it. Well, my husband was lost. They're like spraying. My husband was lost. Well, yes. So we'll start this. Like interns, right?
The society is packed, right at the peak of the roof, it's about 5 foot. So I made 4 present.
I'm good there.
Okay, good. The other guy wants to come and have it. I mean, it's in fashion. Well, they don't want to do it, she's right. But, yeah, one of the trees is right behind me.
I have a few, pieces coming down. I don't know. My girlfriend had came down. Thank God she don't get very good ground and always the back and behind the air.
We have 4 interns. Good. Process them, you feel trained on them, so that they're not even done their training, they just got full-time jobs.
Second the nature of something. My house is on
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
But. Yes. They're gonna let you go because you make more than.
I can do it. Can you give me?
Yards in the middle.
I know.
Either one, one look at it. So that's kind of. I over.
It wasn't even.
I thought.
Because I know you guys don't. Those things are ready.
I've always been done already.
Well, we have, done it. Anybody, but then, yeah.
Yeah.
That helps. I mean, people have lost the whole 5 years. They'll probably take 3 years, and then I'll stay. This will have to be. Oh, yeah. Plus, you know, and we lost.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Yes. I don't understand.
That's the only use it.
You know what I mean?
Then I'll call the. Yeah. I was so. That's one thing.
So we hold our breath every time. They want to get though, because when you are tired, we have. You don't feel. So, yeah.
Yeah.
He started that one day and then today, what's the, like,
Awesome.
I saw him do it on your road for yourself.
No, he came back. For what, 20 minutes?
I never got you this early morning, I just like, you know, I'll get there. That's now, I like it, I'm thinking this is looking back over, but.
Picked up all his stuff.
My daughter lives in Springfield. Yeah. I went there. That was my apartment. So I go there.
Get my girlfriend up here on Wednesday, it took 7 hours. So that's terrible.
Market Street was curved and curved.
She was driving down property. Taking my neighbor to ice skating. They were coming over to ice skating. While she was driving, tree fell right on her feet.
Oh, geez.
Thank God, no, God was on her side. That, it was just ours, that my niece, they were both goes to rent a bus, but on drives like. One and like in between them. You're not down by. So no, thank God, because you can cause another out, like when that happens. It's worse. Teachers are like, not able to play, but she falls. I'm just gonna. On my way, and I don't like go somewhere. He was able to get through. But yeah, so before he even got there, he had the police there, so. Yeah, but thank God, she was. Then I'm like. It's either just. Like, that's not fine. My niece is going back to. Jump, I go pump in my yard, divot my yard, my husband's yard. Right now, that's what I'm saying. Like my winter tree, yeah, and off on Monday, so like Wednesday. Friday. So they keep busy. They were out
It's itself, it's not new.
Yeah,
All this.
that door is like, they say when kids are here. Yeah. I say hi to my sister. It's right. Yeah. I could hear it. So there, I said, yeah, I thought it again. Thank you. Right here. Yeah. There you go. Wait, how do we have the phones? After the door. Imagine.
And then they can be.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I'm passionate. Yeah. I think personnel matter, they don't.
Like, my Peter, he's good.
Can I go to your office and look at it? I don't think when I'm calling this attorney's office, I'm actually gonna have.
What do you think, how you doing?
I'm not gonna record it, I just want to.
All right.
And that's only by the phone. He has a regular. For Christmas, you want to hear me. She just told me. Yeah, there's a school. Yeah, but I think we first have heard. Oh, yeah, yeah, but I know that.
I got it. One of them go for the salary.
Yes.
Thank you guys for waiting. Do we want to entertain motion to approve resolution for 2024 January salary adjustment for non-uniform employees?
Good question. Yeah,
Anybody?
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
okay. Yes.
Borough manager, we have, borough manager, I'm gonna have you do a roll call. You wanna do it? You wanna make the motion? I thought we just said, yeah. We did. I'm gonna get there one.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for 2024-01, the salary adjustments for non-uniform employees. Increase public works and the borough secretary to $25 each an hour.
Yes,
Second. You have a second? We have a yes, Mr. Stubbs?
second.
We have a second. You can go ahead and.
All right, roll call vote.
Yes.
Bernice Clark Dickerson,
Yes.
Counselor Douglas Eager,
Yes.
Counselor Beth Ann Johnson,
She recused.
She can't vote.
She's going to recuse herself.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Counselor Michelle Miller,
No,
Council President Shante Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Michelle Roberts,
Yes.
Counselor Walter Stubbs.
Oh, yeah.
That motion's gonna pass 5 yeas, 1 nay, with 1 abstention.
Okay, do we want to entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024 February modifying the 2024 budget allocation?
Mr. Stewart, do you want to read off what the numbers are?
Absolutely, Mr. Solicitor. With the action that the board just took with the increase in salaries for the non-uniformed employees, what we've got is a total increase of $86,200. And what the board's gonna take action this evening is to reduce existing line items in that same amount of $86,200 so that we remain with a balanced budget at a total of $2,529,586. So the following line items are going to be affected. Line item 401.130, which is the salaries for your administration staff, with the increase for Public Works and the increase for the secretary. It was going to increase the line item itself by $13,000, and that new line item will be $101,567. Expense line item 410105. The chief of police salary is actually going to be $15,000 more than what was originally budgeted. So that allocation is going to increase to $519,500 for that line item. The police healthcare, we've got some employees who have elected now to go on the healthcare plan. We also have one employee that is turning the age 26 and is mandated by the government to use our health care plan as opposed to their parents. So line item 410476 is going to be increased by $58,200, and that new allocation is $196,200 total for that line item. The offsets or the decreases, line item 404314 for special legal fees. We had originally allocated $25,000, but we're going to decrease that line item by $24,000 and have $1,000 left in that line item. So a little tongue in cheek, please, everybody be on their best behavior so we don't have to list special legal fees this year. Line item 409-103, which is building repairs, we're going to be decreasing that line item by $16,050. And the new allocated dollar value is going to be $13,950. Police training, the training budget for line item 410-111 is going to be decreased by $5,000, and the new allocation is going to be $4,000. The telephone expenses on the police side, line item 410-321, as Ms. Dickerson and I discussed earlier this afternoon, that bill has all been rolled into one. It is all burdened on the admin side since we got rid of those people called Windstream last year. So we're going to decrease that line item by $5,000, and the allocation is going to be $0. Item 430251, which is tree trimming and pruning. We were given a line or a estimated cost of mortality on trees by Davy Tree Resource at $13,250 per year. We just received a grant from Dublin Greenways, so we're able to completely eliminate that line item. So it'll be decreased by $13,250, and that line item is now going to be $0. 454720 Parks and Recreation Equipment. We are going to decrease that line item by $15,000, so the new allocation is going to be $15,000. And then lastly, the line item 487183, which is the opt out for the healthcare. Employees decided to no longer opt out, so we had set aside $7,900 as a reimbursement. Since we have no longer have any employees that are opting out, we can reduce that in its entirety, and we would be at $0. So if all of the math is correct, and Mr. Hefner's going to be checking me as I speak, we should be plus 86,200 on the changes that we made for the increases, and we should be minus 86,200 for the decreases. And again, this council would be passing a balanced budget for $2,529,000. You're all ahead of me. For being new to the group, you guys are quick on the learn. $2,529,586.
Yeah. Would you mind explaining about that telephone expense, why not using Windstream, we're saving $5,000?
No, what we did was we allocated $5,000 for the police for their telephone system over the years. If you recall, when Windstream told us they were getting rid of the copper system, and we went to Comcast,
Which was the year
Xfinity,
before, yeah.
that is one bill, so it's no longer split between admin and the police. When it was Windstream, we used to get two bills.
Right.
One for the police, one for admin. We no longer get a police bill, so we burdened all of that cost over here on the municipality side. I'm sorry, on the admin side.
So we decreased the telephone expenses by 5,000, but picked them up someplace else. Is that what you're saying?
They're accounted for on the admin side. So when we went through the budget with Joe, we gave him what the cost of the, it's now a telephone and internet bill all rolled into one.
Right, okay, so it's a decrease on the telephone, but it went 5,000 up in another,
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. Okay.
How's my math, Mr. Evans? All right. Earning my money tonight, I'm telling you.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve resolution 2024-02, modifying the 2024 budget allocation?
So moved.
Second.
We'll have a roll call.
Council Vice President Bernice Dickerson.
Yes.
Counselor Douglas Eager.
Yes.
Counselor Beth Ann Johnson.
Yeah.
Counselor Michelle Miller.
Yes.
Council President Shante Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Michelle Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Walter Stubbs.
Yes.
That motion is going to pass unanimously 7-0, Madam President.
And do we have a motion to approve the disbursement journal for December 2023?
I'll make the motion to approve the disbursements journal for December of 2023.
Second.
You could just do a voice.
Yes.
All in
Your
favor?
pleasure, Madam President.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That motion will pass unanimously.
All right, moving on to upcoming meetings and events. Our next council meeting will be on the 24th of January at 7 p.m. And then the following would be the 2nd of February, February 14th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Regular meeting, and the meeting on the 24th will be a council agenda meeting.
When is the next Bergman meeting?
I believe it's in 2 weeks.
The
but I'm gonna
24th.
Double check with Dave Schwartz just to make sure.
Mrs. Hodnett, 24th?
Thought it was supposed to be tonight, but I haven't.
Okay. Wait, what is the night?
Yeah, no, I checked with, manager store. Well, we possibly, like you said, the end of the month.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just to give you a quick update on Bergman, as they anticipate being complete by March, no longer than April.
Yeah.
So the next meeting they do have, they're gonna be very close to being able to produce the final report for council.
We're gonna move on to open discussion. If you have put your name up on the board, you will have a 3-minute time limit. You will hear a very loud siren go off at that 3-minute mark. Please obey the sirens. If you do not get out what you need to get out, we are available. I am. Any questions, concerns? But in 2024, we're gonna listen to that siren. 3 minutes. All right. We have Mr. Lee first.
With permission of the council, I'm going to let Lisa Lockley speak first, and then I'll speak second. I think Mrs. Lockley really needs to leave, so that's why I want her to speak first.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. You're welcome now.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Lisa Lockley, 114 Harding Avenue, in Morton. I'm here to ask permission from council to erect a sign underneath of, Mr. William E. Rice's, banner in his honor. And I talked to the family, they're really happy about it. And the name they came up with is William E. Rice Way. So I'm asking permission to have that done on March 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. The Tuskegee Airmen will, if you give permission, they will be here to, help honor him, with the sign under like Walnut Street or whatever.
So would that sign be on the pole?
It will be on a pole
Where his banner
where his banner is,
Okay.
right, right. And it will say Tuskegee Airmen, yeah,
What was the date, Lisa? I'm sorry.
March 23rd.
Okay.
It's on the Saturday.
Mhm.
And I talked to Jennifer Mayor's office and they said it's a borough, it's not a state highway.
Right.
So it's for your approval.
I think that's an awesome idea, and we will definitely get together as a council. to
Right,
talk
and I'll
about
give
it
you
and
more
have that-
information.
Yeah, and have that answer for you.
Okay,
Hopefully, by,
What can we decide right now? I mean.
I think we sure.
I'm just saying, so she
Yeah,
can get the
because I have-
sign.
I think we should have,
Everything.
I think we should get, have that information,
yeah.
provided that you.
And I did talk to, I'm sorry.
Under the sunshine law, council's not supposed to take action on things that aren't on the agenda, so we'll put this on the agenda.
Okay, okay, all right,
So that's why I said we'll have it.
okay. All right, and then you can let me know and
Could you give me the time? She said.
10 in the morning, because I'm on the executive board with the Tuskegee Airmen, so they said that they can come out and do a presentation afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Okay, thank you.
That's awesome.
Mr. Lee, you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Madam.
Madam President, I'm sorry, Madam President, just to provide some clarity, and I just want to make sure that Lisa, Ms. Lockley and the board are on the same page. we're not looking to change the name of the street. Basically, what she's looking for is to put a placard over top
Yeah.
of the street sign, very similar to what the fire company was able to accomplish for one of their fallen
Yes.
members.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. I really do want to commend Councilor Stubbs for his interest in the youth of Morton. I think it's great that he wants the youth to develop their talents, whether it's in athletics, the arts, or scholastics. But there's one important area where the children really need guidance, and that's to become good, respectful citizens of the town. Obviously, it's not the council's power or within the scope of your authority to be everyone's parent. But for a lot of these kids, they're not getting it at home, so we need to do everything possible to help them. There was a time when somebody would say, "Mr. Stubbs, I'm sorry my son broke your window. Send me the bill and I'll pay it." No, today that same parent would deny all responsibility. Not my son, he's being picked on, he's being persecuted. It wasn't him, it was somebody impersonating, or even more obnoxious. Yeah, he did it, but he can't help it because he has a muscle twitch. No, I've heard of that done. I'm sure if you go back to 1970, you'll find out that actually worked. Somebody tried to get out of the responsibility for his crime because he was addicted to Twinkies. The sad part about it is it actually worked. But I want to get back to my main point. The youth of Morton need to be respectful because they're the future. I'm an old geezer. The road behind me is longer than the road ahead of me. So that these children are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and they need to be able to respect themselves and other people and their property. So please keep that in mind, Mr. Stubbs, and all of you. So
Thank you.
so with that being said, thank you for listening. Good night. May God bless all of you.
God bless you.
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you. And you beat the buzzer. All right, Ms. Todd, you're up next.
Cecilia Todd, 110 Althea Lane in Morton. I know that 3 of our council members are new to being council members. I would like to commend all 3 of you for the accomplishments that you've made already so far tonight. I know it's not an easy job for anybody to do, but you've taken the bull by the horn. You have tackled major situations already in appointing committee people, in tackling the adjustments to the budget. And I would like to commend everybody that voted for the increases for the non-uniform employees that have worked for our borough for many, many years. Thank you very much for their support and their encouragement. It's nice that they're being recognized by a pay increase, and I really appreciate that. I would also like to mention that someone really needs to take control of the calendar, Morton Borough calendar. We need to have information on that calendar, and it couldn't be more important so that residents can become involved and that we can participate and work with all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just to, kind of give you some information about the calendar, we are going to be updating the website that will provide everything the website should, including an up-to-date calendar. So you'll see that change hopefully sooner than later, but I agree that that should be up to date, and we're moving forward to get those things implemented and done.
Thank you.
And just so you know, I met with Mr. Stewart today about that calendar, and I asked him to fill it today, so it should be filled by the end of the week.
I saw you smile. Thank you.
Lily Craig?
Charles Lillycraft, 114 Locust Road in Morton. I'd like to ask the fire chief a question. Did the Borough of Rutledge offer the fire company $150,000?
No offer was made.
Pardon me?
No offer was made.
They never made it offer.
No offer was made.
Okay. That's not what I was told. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Wagner?
Bruce Wagner, 124 West Sylvan Avenue. About a month and a half ago or so, there were some residents that were complaining, rightfully so, about North Morton Avenue being all torn up and patched badly. And I believe shortly after that, maybe council meeting after that particular meeting, the utility company, water company, offered the borough a substantial amount of money for us to take over doing the streets. And Mr. Catania, I believe, said, hey, you probably should take this money because it's more money than what it's going to take to repair this street. I believe he even said maybe there was going to be some left over, possibly, for maybe a little bit of other street repairs, which is great. But now my question is, we have supposedly all kinds of liquid fuel tax that we have, or not tax funds that we haven't used for 23. That have to be used this year, I understand, or else we could lose them. Now, my thinking is, and maybe this is wrong, is could we use the liquid fuels tax or money to repair Morton Avenue, which that seems to be the biggest project in the borough? Use the liquid fuel for that. But does that mean that the money that we accepted, I believe, from the water company, we're ahead now? In other words, we made money by letting our street get torn. Or aren't we allowed to use the money that we took from the utility company? Do we have to use that money for that road? That's my question. In other words, it seems like we have two pots of money that we could use to fix that street, one or the other. And I would think you'd use liquid fuels, because isn't that what it's usually used for? And that's my question. So that's all.
They don't.
Funds that are received from the water company and lieu they're doing the restoration or have no strings attached to them. So probably the borough council, borough could do anything they want with that money. They could even not restore, they intended to restore that street, but they don't necessarily need to do that. The question on the liquid fuels is kind of a budgeting question. There's really two components of liquid fuels. There's actually the borough's allocation that they receive from the state. And then there's also the county receives an allocation of liquid fuels, and then they reallocate portions of that back to each town. At next council meeting, and I had mentioned council will consider a resolution for the 2024 county aid portion of liquid fuels. That has an expiration date on it. You have to spend that within 2 years or you lose that. Like the borough's allocation of liquid fuels, I do not believe, I'm pretty confident there's no expiration on it. You can carry that over from year to year. Say if you wanted a major purchase, you would need to buy a new dump truck for that. You can carry money over a couple years in order to accumulate the funds in order to make those purchases. I guess the question of whether we can use liquid fuel to pave the streets and then use the aqua money for other purposes is really a question of budgeting, because you can use liquid fuels to pay for public works, you can use liquid fuels for your street lighting, you can use liquid fuels to pay for your traffic signals. So there may be other items that are eligible to be liquid fuel expenses that may already be budgeted for. So there may not be enough funds set aside for street resurfacing from the liquid fuels account to actually pave those streets.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. It is one of those explanation. Thank you.
Mr. Hefner?
I think Mr. Wagner should be on the budget committee. I was thinking. On the CDBG, when's the next meeting?
That I'm gonna find out.
Okay, fair enough. And the recycling, how are the residents notified that it's available to them now?
How are they notified? Well, once we get our calendar up and running, it'll be out on our website.
It's already
But
on the website.
we also did give out some handouts to residents to inform them. And just by word of mouth, hopefully our residents are taking notice. that we are recycling.
Okay, I was just curious, because I didn't see too many cans out yet.
And with that said, and I'm gonna tell you honestly, not many people will recycle. And I, maybe it'll get more catchy and people will catch on to it. But when we did recycle, there were not many that went out and put it at the curb. I'm gonna be honest with you.
All right.
Well, the county has always said that the waste management people that run this for the
I
county.
want to say
have always
thank you
been-
for making the changes, so it's revenue neutral.
Mhm.
Happy, I'll leave you guys alone.
But the county's always been happy with our numbers.
Pardon?
The county was impressed with our numbers. From the last time we did it,
I think
by
you're
the size of the borough.
I'll work on that budget. It should be commended.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. All right, can we entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned. Yes, sir.